Hey everyone, today we're going to be opening up Idahoan potatoes for hash browns. We're going to open this up, see how it looks. I wonder if bugs got in here. Maybe we'll find a couple little insects in here because, yeah, it's just in here. There's no bag or anything. Anything could have slipped in through these little cracks. It's just wide open. Yeah, so I'm very curious. Are we going to find any little bugs in here? Maybe. Then we're going to bring it upstairs into the kitchen and we're going to cook it up in a frying pan and see if these hash browns will actually still taste good. To my surprise, there's been other things completely open to the elements. Even something we opened like a month ago, 88 years, still tasted fine once we added water to it. So it might smell weird, but once we add water to it and cook it up with some oil, maybe it'll be good. I'm going to give you guys a close-up look at this box and then we'll get upstairs to the kitchen. Idahoan potatoes for hash browns. Quick one-pan recipe. Grown in Idaho. I'm going to make sure everything on this box focuses in case anybody wants to read it. We will be following the instructions on the back. These instructions right here are what I am going to be following today. Quick one-pan hash browns. Seems pretty easy. Can also have cooked shredded potatoes where they aren't really crisped up into a hash brown. These are different products. I actually haven't had scalloped potatoes in a long time. Those are actually really good. You could probably make mashed potatoes out of this. You could probably make the shredded potatoes and then just crush them up instead of crisping them like I'm gonna do. Write for free recipe booklet. So I could write this company a letter requesting it. I wonder if it's even still in business. Back in the day, this is where they would have put the price tag or written it on by hand. Yep, I just looked it up. This company is still in business and the packaging looks nothing like this anymore. It doesn't have this drop as their trademark anymore. Nothing like this anymore. But yes, it is still in business even after 40-something years. Looking around at this, it's very hard to actually date it. It's got a date code. It was produced probably in the late 1980s. Sometime in the 80s, definitely. This is really cool. Let's get up into the kitchen. Alrighty, everyone. We are up into the kitchen. Got ourselves a frying pan. Now let's take a good look at these instructions. What are we going to need? 6.5 cups worth once we get this thing going. 10-inch skillet. So I'm going to use that frying pan there. And 4.5 cups of water. 3 tablespoons butter. I'm going to use that. And going to need 1.5 teaspoons salt. Sugar, I don't have normal sugar. I got powdered sugar, but it should work fine. It doesn't really matter. The contents of the package. And then we're going to cook over medium heat at 375. I have no idea how I would even know it's 375 on the stove. But it doesn't matter. I'm just going to do it until it's crisped up. I've done hash browns before. I know how that goes. About 15 minutes. Then brown the potatoes on each side. And then season them. First up, we got 1/2 cup. This thing filled up all the way is 4 cups. And now we're gonna take some butter, 3 tablespoons worth, about right here. All right, this is salt. And I don't have sugar because I don't really use it for anything. If I make anything, hot chocolate, coffee, I don't add it. I just use milk. I don't put unnecessary sugar in really anything. So we got powdered sugar. We're gonna just take a little out of there. Lost it. That should be good enough. All right, maybe put a little more. Good enough. Let's turn the burner on now so we can get this stuff starting to melt and dissolve. We'll put it on high just for a bit until it gets going. All right, we had that little time lapse there of the butter starting to melt. Now I got a plate out and we're gonna finally see what the stuff on the inside is gonna look like. Let's go ahead and open it up. Okay, it's opened very nicely. Wow, the paper's even brittle after 40 years. I can feel if I bent it back and forth, it would easily rip. It's kind of like a box cutter anyways, but wow, I'm surprised. I did not expect it to be in a bag. I did not. But it doesn't really make much of a difference. It's a paper bag. It doesn't have a wax coating. It literally has nothing on it. But we can inspect it for holes. That might not be from a bug. It looks like something hit it. I think we might have a good product. Yeah, that's probably one of the shreds of potato poking through, because I also got other ones that didn't make it all the way through. All right, let's open this thing up. I've never seen a bag like this that wasn't coated or aluminum foil in it or anything. Look at that. That doesn't look half that bad. Ooh, look at it boil now. Look at that. It's boiling like crazy, and the butter still hasn't completely melted. All right, we're going to turn that down from high down into the medium range. Maybe put the fan on low. The fan doesn't vent it outside, but it spreads it around, keeps it away from the ceiling. All right, let's give that a big sniff. It smells like nothing but the paper. It doesn't even smell very musty. It literally just smells like paper, printer paper, whatever. Very faint. Not even musty like it typically would be after that amount of time. So this was stored somewhere very clean, I would assume. Look at that. Dumping it out. I'll give you guys a close-up look, and then we'll slide it on over into the pan. So I don't expect to find any bugs in here at all. No, I don't. Look at that. It's so dry. It actually feels nice to touch it. Look at this. Let's crunch a little piece. Is it going to be like a potato chip? Nope. Nope, because it's uncooked and dried. Not bad though. It literally tastes like I'm crunching uncooked pasta. And I know what that tastes like, because when I'm making pasta, every minute I'm taking out a piece to test it. In the first couple minutes, it's always a little crunchy still, but it still tastes good. I'm someone who I like my pasta a little hard. What's that called? El dente or something like that? I forget what they call it, but I like my pasta on the harder side. Almost where it even still has a crunch. Wow. It tastes like noodles. It doesn't even... Not musty, not a disgusting aftertaste, nothing. It's good. Look at that up close. Zoom on into the world of the potatoes. Look at that. Now it's time to go ahead and slide it over next door. We're on the medium heat setting back there. And it says it takes about 15 minutes for that to absorb the water. I'm going to be amazed if it absorbs all that water. It's got 15 minutes to do so. It is now 1:56, so that means we got to go until, let me do that math. We got to go until 2:11. It's not 2:11 after. It's not 2 in the morning. It's not 2 in the afternoon either. I just didn't reset that clock after I had the power outage. There was a power outage for like 2 hours. Power company called me 4 hours in advance saying the power would be out for a little while so we can safely make the necessary repairs after a car drove through a telephone pole down the road. Alright, and I'll give a couple updates between the 15 minutes. It's only been in there 1 minute now. I'll just let it sit. And I'll pull over the chair so I don't forget about it. Someone asked in one of my recent videos, why the chair was over here, because they said like someone in their family, grandmother or someone did that, and they were just asking why I did it. That's why, so I don't forget about it if I walk away. Sometime this winter I gotta clean out my pantry. There's a lot of things I don't eat in here. The other day I just bought some more stuffing because I actually really like eating this just plain without a meal or anything. But I realized I had a couple expired ones, 2 years, cooked them up. They were fine. These are also expired 3 years, but I imagine they'll probably be fine too. I just reminded that I had these, so I should cook them, or if they're bad, I'll just give them to animals. And here I haven't bought cereal in over a year, so that's probably bad. I'll put it in front of a trail camera sometime in the middle of the winter. Exactly 5 minutes, and I'm back over here. Yeah, I am believing now that it's gonna absorb it. Look at that, how that thickened up so much in just 5 minutes. Now let's get a sniff of this steam. Now the steam, it's not horrible, but now I'm smelling a little bit of age, moldy, or not mold, mustiness. It's smelling a little bit off, but I think it'll probably still taste good at this state. This was preserved way better than I ever expected it would be when I bought this. I believe we paid like $30 for it. I'll check into that right now. I'll go look for the receipt. No, it was sold for $15, which is actually very inexpensive for a vintage product that you can't get anymore. Just looking at this packaging, I remember when I was little, I used to love using a magnifying glass and looking out the little individual plots on there of ink. Going on exactly 10 minutes. Thickened up even more. And we have just approached exactly 15 minutes. And I'm gonna drain the remainders of this. See what it looks like right now. Still a good amount of water in there. We're not going to evaporate that out. I would eventually, but I'm going to drain it, and then we're going to put it back in there with some oil and fry it up nicely. All right, so not bad. Ooh, I just got a big woof of, it smells a little bit rancidy, but I think it'll still taste good once we get this going pretty well. That's the real time right there. Pour a little oil in there. It's probably going to need a lot of oil actually, because that's a lot of potatoes. I'm probably going to have to add more, and I might even only put half of it back in there. Want to get as much of that water out of there as possible. Is it still dripping? A little bit. And this is the moment I suddenly noticed, yeah, there was a lot of butter in there. But that's okay. Don't explode on me. Alright, good. I'm just gonna cook up a little bit actually at a time. That, we'll see what we can do with that afterwards. This is gonna fry up nice. Let's get some heat in there too. I think this is gonna work out nicely. Okay, so it probably only took a minute to strain that out. Now it's been in here for maybe 3 minutes. I'd say within 10 it's gonna be nice and crisped up. Maybe this will help with splashes. Yeah, so if I had tried to do all that at once, I don't think it would have been manageable. That would have taken absolutely forever to crisp up all that at once. Just 2 minutes later, Not crisping up quite yet that I'm noticing. This is basically the same way I make French fries. I'll just take the cutting board, cut up a potato, and throw them in the grease for like 20 minutes. That came out good. Now I kind of want French fries. I haven't done that in a while. And I got potatoes. Got a big bag of them right over there. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when you're cooking this or French fries, once the steam is basically gone like it is now, that means the grease kind of replaced the water, right? Now I think that's when it's going to really start crisping, right? Yeah, look at that. It's starting to get crunchy now that the water's all evaporated out of it. This might actually be good, especially the really crispy stuck together sections. I only put so much grease in there because I thought I was going to be putting more of it in here. I could try another tiny little batch without all the grease in just a minute. Yeah, I can't wait to try this. This is going to be done in just a little teeny bit of time. It's only been in here for maybe 5 minutes. Still on high. A couple of minutes later. Today it snowed again. Last week we got maybe an inch of snow. It melted quickly. This morning I woke up to about 3 inches. It got to maybe 38 degrees. Now there's like a slushy little layer. It didn't stick to asphalt or sidewalks, nothing like that, just the grass. And tomorrow that'll be gone. It'll be 40. There's a good amount of snow out there right now. Not a good amount, but so far for this year. We got like an inch outside now, which is nice. And that sent everyone into a panic to get their snow tires. I had my snow tires changed out yesterday and couldn't believe I had to wait like massive amount of time, because everyone was doing it yesterday, last minute. All right, a little less than 10 minutes. Let's take the heat off. Browning up nice. This edge right here looks nice and crunchy. This edge right here looks a little, I don't know. Part of that might be burnt, part of it might not be. I just want to give it a good taste test. That's what we're doing right now. And I'm going to do another little batch in just a moment. Yeah, I need both hands. I gotta push it on here, or I'm never getting that off. Let it cool down for a minute. And I want to throw some more in there. Try another batch, because I may have overcooked this. Alright, good enough. While that's cooling down, we're gonna throw a little more in here. Carefully. It's not gonna explode, is it? Not bad. We just threw a bigger clump of it in there. Now that should absorb all that oil this time. And hopefully, now we gotta turn the burner back on high. It was off. Now we gotta let that sit for maybe another 10-15 minutes, crisp it up. Maybe it'll stick together. I don't think it will, like actual hash browns. I don't think it'll really stick. Doesn't seem like the right type of thing. Now I want to give this a little try. So some pieces are lighter, they're not burnt. None of it tastes burnt, despite how it browned. None of it. It's good. It held up. This product actually held up perfect to me. It tastes like I'm eating potato sticks. You know, you buy them in a little can, or sometimes in a bag at the store. Basically chips into little shreds. It tastes exactly like potato sticks. Despite how it may look, I'm not tasting burnt. It's still a little hot, actually. I'm having trouble taking more than a piece at a time. That's actually fantastic. The little musty smell when I added the water went away. Held up. I love this. This is so good that I could literally eat all of this if I wanted to. Overcooked, maybe, because it's crunchy, but not burnt. It doesn't taste burnt to me. I love it. It tastes just like the potato sticks you buy at the store. Tastes like potato chips, what I have right there. I'm going to cook that a little less so it's a little bit soft at least. How's it doing? Not bad. Another 5 minutes, I'm going to take a little scoop out and give that a try too. So this product, because it held up so well, whatever I don't eat, I'm going to go ahead and put it outside so animals can eat it. Alright, so in this state, I'm going to go ahead and take a scoop of it now. Like this. It looks undercooked at the moment. But I want to take a little bit. Oh, actually, that looks kind of nice on the edges. Starting to crisp up. I want to go ahead and take a good scoop of this. Let it start cooling down. Because this is more like hash browns. I definitely overcooked the first part. That's why it's more like potato chips. Let's take a little bit of it out. Let that cool down for like 5 minutes and I'll take a bite out of that, see how that does. Maybe even sprinkle some pepper on that, it might taste good. Actually, let's just take it all. There's barely any grease right now, so let's get it out of here. Now, something plain like a potato, animals don't like that. So if I go ahead and throw those shreds out in the yard, I'm telling you, the animals are not going to eat it. I've tried that before. Despite having a little butter, it doesn't matter. But if I cook it up, chances are something will actually want to eat it. So we'll go ahead and fry up the little bit of remainder that we got there. Just so it tastes a little better to whatever. Because it's garbage. It's like eating a piece of wood, I guess, to an animal. Alright, let this cool down. This actually looks like it's going to be perfect, that piece right here. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of pepper on it. Just half of it so I can try a little of both. Alright, a couple minutes later, starting to stir that up again, the final batch. Try to brown it a little bit. There was barely any grease in here, so this will come out a little bit differently. Because these were literally floating in grease, like when you make a potato chip. That's why it turned out like that. Alright, these are starting to brown up a little bit now. And these right here, they're very greasy, and this is actually like a hash brown. They're still a little bit movable, they're still flexible. Let's go ahead and take a big bite. Now that one right there, I can taste a little bit of the musty offness. Because I guess the other one, it was able to actually get cooked off a little bit. But, yeah, this right here tastes like potato chips. Came out good. But this is like actual hash brown. Now some with the pepper on it. Good. I can definitely taste this is a little bit off. This is covering it up because it's so cooked, but for something that's 40-something years old, I gotta say it held up. This is a product I did not expect to stand the test of time. I gotta wash my hand, I'm pretty greasy. All right, I'm back. Got a little bit of a greasy mess here to clean up later. I'll let this cook for another 5 minutes. I'm not gonna eat it, I'm just gonna put it outside so some animal can have it. This is greasy. You saw all that grease and the butter too. I really don't want that in the septic tank, so we're not gonna feed it to the toilet. Plus, this is actually a product that actually held up, so we'll let something outside eat it. This actually tastes good. Okay. Get it on out. Whoop. All right, I just cleaned up a bunch of this, and I'll clean up the rest of the grease and stuff after. I'm gonna be cooking something else later on. So okay, let's take this out and dispose of it. Okay, we're gonna dispose of a little bit of this. We're gonna throw some in the fire and see how flammable it is. Just a little bit of it though. We need more light. Just a little bit of the Crispies. Things like chips, they burn very hot. That's the problem with doing this with one hand. Spilled some greasy stuff on the floor. All right. Ooh. Look at it go. Ooh. That actually smells really, really good burning in there. Wow, that smells good. Walking outside and just taking a look at the smoke coming out of the chimney. Let's go walk over here into the smoke. Back here by the garden, you can't really see it, but the smoke is kind of settling back down to the ground. I could smell it a little bit. That's going to attract all the animals. They're going to know about this and come over and eat the rest we leave out here. I'm back. Feet are a little bit cold. Just waiting for it to completely burn off. This stove has a catalytic converter and random things that aren't supposed to be in there shouldn't be flowing through it, so I have the bypass open. I'll shut the bypass in just a couple minutes. Once that burns off, the toilet is sad today. The toilet's left out of this. It usually gets to eat our things that are left over. Looks pretty sad today. Got it nicely cleaned up. There we go. Close it, re-engaging the catalytic converter, because this is a stove that it runs so efficiently that if you load the firebox with wood, good quality wood, it can run 30 hours before it cools down without having to be touched at all, because it's burning all the smoke being produced. So you saw the smoke coming out of the chimney. Now when we go outside, you should see very little or nothing, because all the smoke is running through a catalytic converter, burning it a second time. So even if the fire doesn't have flames, that's producing a ton of heat up inside it. If you can see that, go ahead and kill the lights. You should be able to see it actually glowing. So it's inside of that grate. Can we see it? Yeah, you can see it now. I hope you can. Can you see in the back side of those holes? The catalyst is glowing bright red. I got to see it good about an hour ago when I was filming this thing. I don't really see it doing much right now. All right, we're outside and we're gonna go take a walk into the woods, and maybe something will go ahead and eat this. Snow's been on the ground for a while. Don't see any tracks. The snow is actually melting. Tonight probably won't even hit the freezing mark. We got our camera here right at the pallet house. It's hard to hold all three of these things like this with two hands. I need an extra hand. This is so cool. Look at the snow sliding off the metal roof. Look at that. Nah, there's not enough. If there was like a couple inches piled on rather than a coating, it would just slide. And it's not coming off right now. Nope. Zero smoke now. Oh, wow. Before I get the poker stick out, take a look at this. Look at him in there, burnt to a crisp. The hash browns. There they are. They just fell apart into the ash. Making some room on the hot coals for some more wood. Yeah, it's heating up nice and hot with the door wide open. Coming over here, grabbing a big log. And this thing will keep the stove hot all night. There we go. That'll take forever to burn that big solid piece. Wow, it was so hot just sticking my hand in there. There we go. Closing on up. That big log is already combusted in there. That was a pretty messy video to clean up after. I can't believe the product held up and it still tasted almost the same as it would have back in the day. That was incredible how long it held up, and it wasn't airtight at all. It had oxygen going through it for 40 years, but yet it was stored somewhere perfect where it didn't grow mold, didn't absorb too much nasty odor. That was awesome, and I hope today's video was interesting, everybody. Thanks for watching, and have a great night.